Obviously as well, it's a bit odd of a map choice. That's why it always seems so different when you look at it, because Endpoint are the one team that do feel confident on it. We haven't really seen it at all, and to throw it in now in the playoffs, obviously the only difference being the roster is slightly different. Maybe they've got a trick up their sleeve, but you boys are going to know better than me, as you'll be the ones narrating it. Let's lock it down. Dust 2, Wind and Rain versus Endpoint. Take it away, boys.
I think this is the first time I've seen Dust 2 on a Prem broadcast in, how long is it going to be? 2, 3 years maybe?
About 20 years at least. Yeah.
All the way back.
all the way back in the 1.0 days instead of 1.6. Yeah, it's definitely a rarity. Everyone knows this map. It doesn't matter if you play the game or not. Everyone knows a good bit of Dust 2, don't they? So, but it's nice to see it back in the Prem. But we never thought we would see it in the final. But this could be a good map choice for Wind and Rain to throw Endpoint maybe a little bit off guard.
Yeah, I mean, that was the big part about it. I know Endpoint tweeted, we're surprisingly good at Dust 2. And if you see them say that themselves, you're kind of wondering, maybe we shouldn't pick it.
Yeah, maybe we shouldn't have banned those other maps and actually chose it anyway.
Wow.
Yeah, Max with that 2K straight off the bat, but Vezix gets 2 of his own, and Lazar spoke about him quite a lot, Max, to finish the job. And it's one thing you mentioned in that pre-game as well, is the fact that it would be nice if Wind and Rain could actually try and have a really strong start, but this isn't a strong start.
No, not really. Especially when Max rips 4 people's heads off just like that in the space of, what, 10 seconds? And you can see the run from him. He wanted to get that 5th guy. He was like, yeah, I'm ready. Come on. And unfortunately, he doesn't get it. But you can tell, though, just from that pistol alone, they know the set smoke. They know they can smoke CT from long. And that's a huge part of the map control, just by that. You're kind of limited to what you can do on this map. Even though it's been reworked, redone, revamped, like textured and everything, the sentimental of the map is still the same sort of stuff. You still have your mid to Bs, your long executes. There's not much variance in it still. And that means we're going to see the same sort of stuff that we've always seen when people played Dust 2 in the past. And the issue is, some of these Wind and Rain players, some of them, they're not actually that heavily involved in CS. Like, they didn't play the previous versions, they didn't play Dust 2 much when they first started. So this is a new, sort of surprise for some of them.
Yeah, it's going to be extremely new for them. It's like you mentioned before, of course, if they didn't play any Source or 1.6, then they're definitely going to struggle without that veteran experience of being able to play that map in the past. But we're not too sure if it will affect him as of yet. We have seen some weird things, but Thomas does manage to take down 5, and with that, sorry, Mac9, sorry. You know what, I can't even talk today. I think it's just one of those things today, isn't it? I'm just going to have to live with it. But anyway, it is 3v3, but that bomb will get down by Endpoint. We'll get this round. Not really too much to expect, and of course, I'm not too surprised that Endpoint did have those AKs, considering the fact that in those kind of circumstances, we know how large this map is. It's, even though most of the time you normally have one person with the AK, maybe, like on T side in that second round, it depends on the kind of situation, depends on the map choice. But with Dust 2, I'm not really too surprised from there, considering they're executing that long aim.
Yeah, it's a very long map in the simple sense. So you get a lot of distant battles, which means a player like Thomas, for example, with his Mac 10, he normally doesn't get the same sort of eco-bash capability that he would normally have. But this is a classic. Eco strat, this boosts multiple people short. Because when they did execute from long, they put that one smoke in next to the box, which you can see being thrown right over there over the wall. Actually, that's CT one, I think. But they were able to shoot back from short just on that sort of catwalk area. So they're hoping we can get a lot of shots across, because they don't smoke that section of the map off. Obviously, Rezek is dishing out shots here and there. Hasn't quite landed, you think he landed one, but there's another one. He's getting options here. A lot of players are causing havoc for him and giving him an option to shoot at them.
Yeah, he's done a fair amount of damage. Managed to get a kill of his own. Managed to get an assist from there as well for one of the trades. But as you see, it's 2v3. But yeah, this could be a round that Wind and Rain really needed. Of course, when they went all that short B, it wasn't really too bad. Because even though Endpoint did push along A, even if they did push fast, they would have had that height advantage, but also the cover when they came round. But we know how good these Endpoint guys are. But to get this round from Endpoint and also to get these AKs, it's so crucial. Like you mentioned before, they need a really good start. This could be a good comeback to actually turn things around a little bit.
And just the sheer chaos of that situation. It's just like, we know we smoke CT, but they can be on site, they can still be on that sort of catwalk area. Like, there's so many little angles you still have to look at, even though you've used quite a bit of utility. And unfortunately, it doesn't work out for Endpoint. So now they're kind of stuck in this awkward by 2 CZs, they've got 3 AKs, but utility's not really there. And the double AWP from Hector's and Rezak is already out. So they recognise that was a key part of our round wins last time. Let's try and get that as much as possible, especially on Dust 2.
Of course, only have 3 AKs. One of the guys with the CZ does die anyway. Jenko is getting that nice molly on pulse to finish him off. Max does make a trainer off anyway, so it's still quite early, but will they check pit to see if Fire's there? But managed to get Thomas. Max again with another crucial trade to follow suit, but Hex is now with the AWP. He knows exactly what's going on, and the question is, will Endpoint try and continue pushing that long A, or maybe try and bait him out or go for that rotate? But sadly does miss that first shot, but doesn't matter too much because they're so far away at this stage. They won't be able to capitalise on that, but he will make sure that he'll
That's
put
a really awkward smoke.
It was, yeah.
It wasn't meant to land there, but it's kind of worked out a bit better for them that it did. Actually, Lezzo get that free kill, which not great. But Max does still have a smoke here. I think he's hoping to try and find a single headshot with three. It's minion fights. It's just very awkward to take battles in this sort of area. He's going through it. Very bold move for him, to be fair. Like, if he gets that second kill, you're wondering. Fantastic play.
Yeah, I don't blame him for making that attempt. There's only so much he could do, and he knew in a 1v3 situation that he really had to try and turn things around. And he had the bomb as well, so he only need to take one, maybe two players out, get the bomb down, and then it'd be in a straight-up 1v1 fight. But this wasn't to be. But Wind and Rain, after winning that third round, managed to get that second win on the board from that fourth round, and of course now Endpoint will be on that eco and trying to find a little bit of info to see exactly where they want to go to this next round.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit of an awkward round to play out for Endpoint. Like, they've got nobody with actual, like, a single flash or a single smoke or anything, so it'll just be a case of just overcrowding someone's visual, essentially. So Hector's, they get the info he's in CT with his AWP. And I'm not too sure if they know that Rezex has one as well, because he didn't actually get a chance in that previous round. But instead, they're just going to try and rush across this short area, hopefully get a plant, but you know, you're battling two rifles. It's a bit difficult.
It's not happening. Doesn't matter how much cover you have. These guys will, will definitely take you down like there's no tomorrow. Third round down for Wind and Rain. And it's like I mentioned before, because they did actually switch to that double AWP play in that last map, and it did work in some ways in their favour. That's when they started bringing up that 8-0 deficit to get a few more rounds on the board. So maybe they're thinking, well, even though it's a different map, it could be a good time to do it, but what better map to do it on than Dust 2?
So it looks like they're faking a sort of B rush. That player at B will then be calling, there's quite a bit of B presence here, leaving this mid area now free. So there's two people in B, they've got no control in this mid B sort of area, so it's a perfect sort of pinch check suit coming in. And they're far too close for Rezex, he surely can't get any more.
And he does. Sadly for him, but he does get traded by Pulsing in anyway. Lazard gets one of his own. And the problem is they still won't be able to get that bomb down as of yet. It's still stuck in tunnels. Obviously, they will try and go for that plant, but you've got all three members of Wind and Rain all on one side. But one thing to take into account, but
that was a really good nade.
That was a good nade, yeah, and a good molly as well to get him off the get him off that side. But Hector's is going to be obviously going through that tunnel to try and catch him off guard, maybe get a nice flank here to close things out. But Pulse, nice play, didn't get a shot off in the end.
Yeah, really, really good crossover placement right there. Now is the, I was going to say, the dodgy debacle of 2v1 where you start faking the plants and then will they peek, will they not peek, that sort of situation. But they didn't save either of those AWPs. So it does mean they're going to have to fully reinvest the 4,750. So that first kill, the fact he was able to get the second there is what probably made the difference in that entire round, just with the fact you lose a man in that situation. And Max as well, coming from tunnel, he lost that 1v1 close to tunnel on his own. Normally you sent 2 through tunnel. So instead there was no quick trade and nothing like that. They had to waste, what, 10 seconds going to get that bomb? And it was on the complete wrong side of the site.
Yeah, it wasn't the best side, was it, to be fair?
Yeah, like normally the bomb does go through tunnel, because that makes sense. You know, you want to be closer to the site, but you have 2 people there just so you trade instantly. Yeah,
even though Pulse got that nice frag on Hector's flanking round, he didn't really get too much done, but it looks like all 5 members of Endpoint will be making that short push. Hector smells it, knows it's coming. Sadly, that molly doesn't really go too well. I know he's going to give Endpoint a chance in this, but now's not the greatest time and does lose that AWP, but Fry managed to get one of his own. Sadly, doesn't get a second. Robin managed to clean up that CZ. There's still 4 members of Endpoint left now.
Very, very scrappy from both sides. A situation where arguably Wind and Rain should have been doing a lot better with what they had. And Pulse, you know, he got that AWP and he's got 2 kills, and honestly, Rezex has to save. He has to reinvest anyway. So money is not great on that side. Yeah, the economy is not looking too good, especially after losing those 2 AWPs.
in the round previous and in this one as well. And I think that poor molly throw, yeah, literally that was squeaky, wasn't it? But let's him get away anyway.
Switched for just a slight second too early. Hate to see it.
Yeah, I hate to see it as well. It's one of those things. But Endpoint get another round on the board anyway. Quite a strange round, I think, because of Hector's managed to muck up that molly. I think that kind of threw him off guard a little bit and missed a couple of shots, which is completely understandable. Sometimes in terms of your mentality, when you do a kind of a small mistake like that,
it builds, doesn't it?
It builds, and not killing any of them, giving Pulse the AWP and getting 2 frags off it, it's a big deal. It's a big deal.
Yeah, so they have risked the further investment. So they bought another AWP. So it's 2 AWPs, M4, and then just pistols, which, you know, it shows that sort of reliance on it, isn't it? They really need those 2 AWPs to kind of function on the CT side. Because 5 or 4 rifles or 5 rifles just wasn't working out for them.
And I've noticed Jenko is actually going to be the one AWPing this time, which is a bit different. Maybe Hater's not feeling it after that little blunder from earlier, but it looks like he's doing better with the CZ than he is with the AWP earlier. But sadly for him, Mighty Max gets that nice little trade.
Yeah,
see how it pushes from there.
It was quite unfortunate that Rezex actually missed that first shot anyway. He was blind, so he just shot anyway, and then Hector's stuck between a rock and a hard place, really, wasn't he? He was stuck in no man's land. And Jenko, I'm not particularly sure what he was doing, like jumping off the site like that, and then
having a laugh, having a giggle.
Potentially, but that's what it's all about, anyway, isn't it?
Well, having a bit of a giggle, yeah.
As long as you're having fun.
He's used to having a rifle, so consider the amount of times he's been playing. He's like not used to having an AWP, but so basically Link will be going around mid to see if he can get any exits. Fries will be doing the same, but I'm not sure what he can get from there. But we'll have to see if Link does manage to get a weapon to take home with him for that next round. He is still waiting patiently.
I think Robin saw Fry go into tunnels just then. I think when he was at T-spawn, I think he just about saw him. So that's the info of both players essentially. Because you see Robin's hunting, but like not forcing the hunt. I guess the best way of putting it. He's holding on the outside. If they come into my visual, I'll kill them. That's fine. But otherwise, I don't need to force this issue. And Link, he actually got an AK in that as well when he just went around that corner. So really, really good movement from him. Just right at the edge of that bomb explosion. He knew roughly how much time he had left. What, 3 seconds after the bomb explodes? So
bless him, no. He waited for a while, didn't he, for that? I think he deserved it, considering how patient he was. But you're right, no, at least gets an AK on the board for this round. Obviously, it won't be the best of buys, but at least it got an M4 and AK to play with to try and get something done out of this. But it looks like Endpoint been loving this A execute. They've been doing it quite often now, and it seems like it has been working out for him quite well. And I don't blame him, like you said. You know, it's don't want to fix what ain't broken, but they have lost a few quite weird rounds from this. But as you can see now, you've got only Hector's and Fry waiting for them on that short side. So they have the cover and the high advantage, but I don't think it's going to make too much of a difference considering. But Thomas doesn't actually know that one of the guys on Wind and Rain is still on the side. I think that's Fry, which he does manage to take him down in the end. Again, managed to get traded off by Pulse, but it could be a little too late.
Yeah, it was a good trade from Pulse. Obviously, like Fry, he's in a bit situation where he gets one, and then that's it. Like, there's no way you get anything else. And this round's just slowly falling apart from them. Link, I would say save is the better idea here, but you're so close to the situation anyway. Like you've kind of gone too far.
And Robin managed to see that member of Wind and Rain through the gap in the smoke, managed to clean things up. And looking at KD so far, nothing too unusual, but we can see like Max is currently going 9 and 5, Pulse is going 8 and 4. And everyone's just playing pretty standard, and I think with Wind and Rain, it's not really anything too much of a big deal. No one's playing too bad, no one's playing too good. It's just pretty average, so nothing too much to say there.
Yeah, I'm liking this fake long take now from Endpoint. So they threw the same smoke, they threw multiple flashes. Luz is posted up, and Link, I've noticed his go-to on this site is to go straight towards car. If he doesn't have any grenades, he'll go straight to car. He knows, I like this angle. And I wonder if Endpoint will slowly catch on that. He's never going towards backside, he's never peeking that area. And they're going to slowly go in and they're going to challenge him. And again, they win the fight. Yeah, it's another situation like that one on Mirage where he needed to get a minimum of one of them, and he gets the damage down. Great, but when it's in a bomb site like that, you need those kills.
Yeah, sadly his aim's not been on point. Don't get me wrong, Link's movement's been very good in terms of where he should position himself and what he should be doing, but sadly his aim hasn't been complementing that. But you know, it's one of those things that can happen. But when you've got 3 members rushing through tunnels like that, what do you expect? And Robin, as I take a risk said, but as you can see, all 3 members of Wind and Rain doing everything they can to keep these guns in pit. But I'm not too sure if they'll find him. If they do, it might be a little bit too late. But by the look of things, I think they're safe.
Yeah, this should be right. It's just the fact that they lost Rezex at the crossover area, and he had the AWP. So that's, you know, 5 grand lost. And you see them slowly going towards that pit. Thomas is he smells them.
He's desperate.
But will he find them? Oh, gee. He sees too many heads.
Yeah, he had a look and thought, nah, I'm not having that, mate. To be fair, I think we'll just leave him to it. You know, it's completely understandable. I don't think he expected all 3 to be down there. But yeah, you're right. They smell it. They obviously go around every part of the map by then. They lap the map and could tell that there's only one place they could be, and that was Pit. But sadly, it was just a little bit too late. And of course, at least they managed to get 1 member down from Endpoint to do a little bit of a little bit of economic damage. But going into this now, good Pulse was full white, but gets good spray, that's right, and does get traded off by Fry in the end.
Yeah, good cross-side placement. Again, he knows exactly where they'll run into if they're about to peek it. And they get what they needed really from that. They know they've taken long control. We can now go back to take short because there won't be anybody here. If there is, it'll probably be Hector's in the past in that round that they won. He was just playing crossover. It was quite a simple, if we smoke him off or flash him off, we can take it. But Hector's is actually moving out. It's quite bizarre. Like, Fry made that push, which very experienced move from him. He knows chances are they'll leave it. Last time they did, they went short. And weirdly, that could have gone horribly. If they were looking at Fry and then they were looking at Hector's too, that CT push goes horribly wrong just because they're doing too much on the map.
Yeah, it's quite a huge risk, and lucky for Wind and Rain, they did manage to get away with it, but obviously exactly what's going on here. So Endpoint will be pushing from short to see if they can try and at least get this bomb down. There's only 1 member. It's only Hector's now on the site, and Fry is there with him, but he's on pit. He's quite far away and doesn't really know. Hasn't really got too much information, but they're going to know straight off the bat. Max comes straight in, dinks him straight in the head, and does get traded by that nade from Link. It's good nades though. Not the best aim, but good nade.
Ooh. Robin's just seeing little heads just bob up and down. And loves it. He's in such an awkward situation. Having an AWP on that short plan, you're forced into a really difficult situation, and the smoke's going to fade in about 3 seconds. Thankfully, they haven't stuck that plant. But it's going to be slowly taking now. Oh. Too good for him, but Link managed to take him out with. Do you know what, Link? If you can hear me, I'd stick to the USB and the nades, I think. Because don't get me wrong, I think that was great play by Link. I said it before, that his aim not been on par, but his movement's been very good, and just like doing the smallest thing of causing a distraction on short to keep him back was a great play. But I'm sure that sometimes with your aim, it can be a little bit more of a confidence thing. But I'm hoping that as time goes on, he'll increase that, and if that goes with his movement to complement that, then hopefully he'll be in a good position in this map, and maybe even a third map if we can squeeze one in. Yeah, obviously there's a thing that happens quite often with players, like they get themselves in the right spot and then they just can't quite fulfill that situation. But this time, Wind and Rain have given up long control, and I'd say every time they've given it up or lost long control, they've pretty much lost one other than that one eco round, which I'd say that was a one-off, so it probably won't happen again. And look how much damage. So they had a molly that they threw from long that hits the skybox and lands on short, and it's done, what, 48 to Fry, 34 to Hector's, without them even seeing them.
That's a fair amount, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a lot.
On a map like this as well.
It's not a very good grenade map, to be fair. It's a lot of flashes, smokes. HGs and mollies don't do that much here, though. It's just anti-rush stuff. Yeah,
do you expect that utility damage on something like 5 members of T rushing up on Banana or Inferno or something like that? But doing it on Dust 2 is pretty good stuff. It's still 35, still...
5v5 retake is wild, to be fair.
It pretty much is, isn't it?
All 4 players are on catwalk and they're all getting each other's ways right now. They're all getting sprayed through the smoke and they're having to pull out. Like it's gone horribly. You know, no coordination really in that retake. No clear sign, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. And that's the difference between a team that are drilled and a team that have just come together last minute and are now playing.
It's like being in the queue, isn't it? For like being in a job or something. They're all just trying to push each other out of the way. It's like, nah, let me in front and all that stuff. But yeah, but funny enough, they actually did that on B side of Mirage, didn't they? Two of them went into each other and they threw a smoke at his torso. And I was just like, okay. But I would laugh if it was the same person actually stopping them from doing that again, because that must have triggered, well, I'm sure if it was the same person, they would be a little bit triggered by it.
Definitely. So because of that early round, I think it was, what, 4 rounds ago, where Link was on his own in B site, and they kind of knew they're probably going to come towards it. Now Rezix is having to play that site with him, and Endpoint haven't touched mid to B other than that 1 round. And they know we don't have to play somebody there. We'll play somebody at crossover, which where Hector's is. He's watching that short push, but you can also see that mid sort of area. And I mean, this map is so open. Like, look at just the center of it. It's just terrace, and then complete left and right. All the CTs are clumped together, essentially.
I do feel sorry for Wind and Rain because I've seen a couple of times where they have 2 members in pit, and they're not going A, they're going B. And this time, well, the one time they're not going long. They did actually have 3 members, 1 outside the double doors, 1 by car, and 1 now on the site. It's a shame because it's like, I wouldn't say it's 50-50, but and then not enough information. It's just been a little bit of bad luck in terms of when they should be holding certain areas.
Yeah, it's luck of the draw, really, isn't it? It's just,
yeah.
At the time, you're thinking, well, they keep going long, so we'll keep committing 2 people there. We'll have a 3rd just in case, because sometimes we lose that fight. But this, compared to the previous round, this is incredibly slow. So I'm a big fan of this play here. So they smoke CT, they also smoke the catwalk. Max has been able to drop. They have no idea that he's dropped. CT is completely clear. And this B split is on, but will they actually be checking for Rezix in this outside section?
Looks like they won't be, but instead doesn't matter anyway. Rezix must get 2 of his own. Lazar finally gets that trade on him, and it's with that bomb and B site, and Lazar's AWPing now. But Jenko does get that trade, so it's still a possible retake. But if anything is there, they've got 2 AWPs. They need to find a rifle. Jenko finally managed to get that AK on board to try and do something from this.
Lovely angle, this. You see the head just as they push in.
And they both went the exact same way. That was a shame, to be fair. Yeah, of course, like you said before, Robin in the perfect spot. You couldn't really complain there. But Endpoint now up 8-5 on T side, and looking at the stats again, still quite similar. Nothing really too much to talk about. Maybe Max going 11-7 stands out a little bit from the crowd, but apart from that, all smooth sailing from there.
Yeah, I think one of the key things would probably be Thomas only being on 4 kills. Like on a map like Mirage, he was able to control. He knows his tempo on there. He knows he can run around a bit more, run and gun, that sort of thing. He
did his business on that last map anyway, top frag, so he's probably thinking, I'll let someone else have a turn, so yeah.
And Dust 2 is not as easy to have that sort of approach. Like, you know, it's much more distant battles, not as much Mach 10 run and gunning, which, you know, is one of his strengths, but it's such a weird thing to say. He's really good at running around with a Mach 10. As it was somebody's strength, you're like, all right, I guess.
Yeah, calm down, mate.
Like, I guess that's something he can do. Yeah, it's not your usual skill set.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, you know, when someone does well with something and you know it's the wrong move, but they get away with it anyway, and then they turn around and say to you, yes, it did work. It's not the point. The point is the fact that it shouldn't have worked, and I don't want you to do it again because you just got lucky with it. But look at the moment. That bomb does go down for Endpoint. The only problem is Wind and Rain are a man down, but they can't really muck about now. It's only, apart from this round, it's going to be 1 round left. I really need to do something with this, but it looks like it's not the case. They will kick those 2 scouts and that Deagle, hopefully to get maybe an exit or 2, but it isn't the case. Robin's not all for it at all, but Hector does get a nice 1 Deagle zone. Sorry, Rezix does manage to scout Robin in the end, but just a little bit too late.
Yeah, all for nothing really, isn't it? They haven't got the guns back either, so it's not like they profited anything other than $300. Great. Rezix might be able to run back for a gun here, but Max, I suppose he saw him off a bit, unless the gun blasts towards him, which I think they did. Yeah, there we go. There's an AK there, and he'll get the scout. Okay, so they do get an AK out of it, which, considering they half bought into that round, like some 2 had scouts, then it was pistols, some armor, it wasn't on every player. Such a weird dynamic. Like, it's so peculiar.
Yeah, a little bit weird, not going to lie, but Endpoint now, with the open 4x with 4 utilities, so not in too bad, and of course with Wind and Rain, haven't managed to maximise it, but this should be enough anyway to take him through this round, to at least try and take this 6th round back. And of course Wind and Rain will really want this 6th round win to take over to that second half, and at least they can win that pistol round, they can even things out, especially on T side on this map.
But again, because that, you know, there hasn't been much influence on that mid to B sort of area from Endpoint, and you see just that gap in the middle of the map. If they were to smoke mid to B off completely now, that B site would be absolutely swamped, just from tunnels and B ramp. It would just be a horrible 1v2/3 for both of them, because they can't really help each other other than, I can flash B ramp for you, but I'm going to be fighting tunnel at the same time. So, you know, it's not a great situation to be in. Like, Endpoint haven't really done anything towards B, other than those fast B splits. And Windrain haven't coped with that knowledge, though. They know they've gone long so many times, they've gone short so many times, but they just can't deal with it.
That's right, and even with their setup on A side, like, Endpoint been capitalising by going short A every single time, because as soon as they take the guy off site, all they need to do is take the guy out Kai, and obviously one guy left in pit. By then, it might be a little bit too late to rotate due to the amount of cover Endpoint have coming from up top. But as you can see now, this could be a 10-5 first half in favour of Endpoint. Jenko left standing, but sadly does get taken down by Lazar again. But Hector's is the last guy with that scout. I'm not really too sure what more he can do. He can do everything he can, but it's looking pretty bleak. And it probably will be that 10th round for Endpoint, and it is. So Thomas does manage to take their Hectors to finish things off, and 10-5 in favour of Endpoint. But one thing you've got to take into account is the fact that, you know, this was Wind and Rain's map pick. So wherever they maybe assumed could do going into this, maybe we'll see it more on that T side, because that's more than when it's for. Maybe we'll have to see something different, but it looks like Wind and Rain will need to try and win this pistol round and then try and get to that double digits to take it from there after the bye.
Thinking about it, Wind and Rain haven't actually won a pistol round yet.
No,
the series.
I think they're due one, aren't they?
They are due one, technically. Law of
averages.
Yeah, law of averages will say that they probably get this pistol round. But, you know, that was part of the question mark, though, on that T side. Do they have anything pistol strat-wise? Because on Mirage, they just ran out all 5 top mid and then jumped into window, jumped into ladder room, and then from there, they actually just lost the round. Straight up, it wasn't like they failed to get to a bomb site. They just died where they got to. And Dust 2... I'm not too sure about how many pistol strats there are on Dust 2 in terms of like variants for professional team side, but Rezix has at least shown some sort of guidance with the 2 flashes and smoke. So it depends what is he going to do with those. I imagine it might be a B split of some kind. But
yeah, it'd be quite interesting, I think. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it was B side. It is one of the most common places to go on that pistol round. And yeah, we don't really see Dust 2, not just in the Prem, but outside the Prem as well. We don't really see Dust 2 get played that much, so you don't really know what's the core meta, especially for these pistol rounds. But after saying that, Fry managed to take out Robin in the end.
They might go through the CT smoke.
Wouldn't blame him, in all fairness.
Okay, not quite the play in mind. Bit quick on the trigger there from Honest Impulse.
Get a little bit overexcited. Thought, oh, another one.
Yeah, but I suppose Thomas is the question mark here. Like, they've killed 2 towards B. And they're probably thinking if he did the USP, he probably gets that kill. If I'm honest.
You'd think so, wouldn't you? But yeah, sadly for them, that wasn't the case. Does get taken down. Thomas is the last man standing, but Link, no mucking around there. Like I said, he's doing very well with his pistol game. The next Bruce Wayne in all this, and so far, like we mentioned before, Wind and Rain, they needed this pistol round, and they got it. And I said it before, they were due a pistol round. They've lost the last 3 in these 2 maps. They managed to get one on the board now. So 10-6, maybe a 10-8 pushing into this, but we saw before Endpoint managed to capitalise, but that was when they was on T side. This is a little bit more of a different story. And as soon as Wind and Rain maybe get that first bye round as well at 10-8, we could see a lot closer game than we expected after that first half.
Yeah, it's a bit of a question mark just by... Because we haven't seen Wind and Rain win a pistol round. We don't know how strong their actual anti-eco is. Right? So normally that's quite a big thing with teams that are coordinated. They know, I'm going to molly this, then I'm going to flash this for you to peek at. But we have situations like that, where he bumps into his teammate and fails the flash. Which, you know, just long run in this round alone, I was wondering how much of a play is there going to be. Because that... You know, that's a horrible start to the round, if I'm honest.
Yeah,
because that one dig was fantastic.
Yeah, not the best. That was quite quick, but Link
and another
does get taken down. And sadly for him, it was one of the guys who actually had the AK. So Max and Easy just picked that up now. And you were talking about Endpoint's anti-eco. We know their CTs aren't the greatest on some of these maps, but it seems like Endpoint are doing okay with its anti-eco, considering forcing into this. But still early days at the moment. As you can see now, Wind and Rain are still trying to look for a little bit more information to find out exactly who is on that A site. Pulse does try and get a cheeky scout off, but doesn't get too much done. He's going to look at it. Managed to damage one more person, so yeah, does manage to tag him down, but we'll just see what they can do.
I think Fry is the key here, isn't he? Just by the fact that they have to go up long and get to that crossover sort of area, they need Fry to kind of impact the little luck that they've got. I mean, I was saying the luck they've got, but nobody's... It's only Max there, really. Like, Fry's behind Max right now. He's all on his own, but Luz has killed all 3 of them from B ramp. I mean, fair play, I guess.
Yeah, I'd probably say fair play.
Yeah.
Because Max, like, I can guarantee you now that if someone took him out from behind on CT there when he went through those mid doors, he'd have looked around and gone, because I know he's sitting quite far away from the rest of the guys in the LAN here. He'd have turned around and gone, right, I know I'm sitting far away, but what are you guys doing? Like, you know, there's two of you there. Like, what's happening? But yeah, you know what? He won't be tilting. That's fine. You can save it for the final maybe tomorrow, depending if he does win this match and obviously going into this. But of course, you were questioning their anti-eco and his very strong start for it. It was a good example of what you said.
Yeah, it's just the fact that you can see it in rain. They were kind of going a lot of solo plays, which you can't risk it, can you? Like, just by the fact that obviously going short, I wouldn't say that was a solo play. There was two players. That one league was. He probably doesn't land that very often on that angle.
Once in the blue moon.
It's like it's a good 5% chance, if not less, right? I mean, the Deagles keep coming, I suppose.
Yeah, I don't blame him, especially on a map like Dust 2. And of course now Luzza do know they're pushing through mid, but pulses. Does have that B-side cover. He's checking mid to see if they can feed Luzza any information, but
yeah, you need the kill.
Just saying. But Thomas does do a cheeky little push through those tunnels to see if he can pick him off, but sadly doesn't assume he will, and he does, and that's the bomb down now. So
it's quite far away.
Yeah.
I mean, they're both very low as well. That's the other part of this. Like, Thomas, a bit of a scrappy battle to begin with, but if Hector's is this low, it doesn't really matter. Yeah,
he doesn't have really too much to say about that. You could kind of tell he was going to clean up, but sadly for Winning Rain, he did have the bomb, so Thomas did a great job doing that cheeky little push through the tunnels and to get that bomb away from Winning Rain. But 12-6, we're seeing quite a similar feat as that first map. Endpoint we spoke about before, where, you know, they didn't make the playoffs in that last season of the Prem, but this time it could be a completely different story. You know, like before, like they didn't make it through last time, but this time they could actually win it. But what a great molly, and what a time to do it as well. Try to get a cheeky nade to get a few more.
Thomas is on the eco hunt.
Damage done. He is, yeah. He's trying to get statting.
$600 for the kill.
Oh.
Unfortunately, he falls to a Glock. Oh, he actually got the dink off when he just shot that single bullet. Not much further though. 13-6. It's a lot, but I mean, just from what we've seen so far, the CT side has looked a bit more, I think, active is probably a good way of looking at it, just because everybody seems to be fluid with what they're doing. They all want to make their own individual plays, and they're kind of accepting that. Thomas, he's been pushing tunnels really aggressively. He's been playing very close, facing it as much as he can. And that's the style of player he is anyway. So that fits his style as well. And we've got the long side players, they're all teaming up really well. And here comes the big question is, how do they react to the long play?
This is right, yeah.
Great.
It's very tough to call that. There's somehow managed to get away. Robin, the star of Long A, managed to at least not just keep him at bay, but stop him from pushing altogether. Like, it looked like it was in a really bad spot. No one dropped a smoke to try and at least give him a little bit of cover. Probably wouldn't have made too much difference because it would have just shot through anyway. But yeah, Robin, straight off the bat, we spoke about him before. Good IGL, but with most IGLs, they do normally struggle to frag here and there. But it looks like from there on, definitely showing his stuff.
Yeah, I mean, normally in that situation, you see the CTs get absolutely destroyed on the way back, but there was a flash thrown because Luzza wasn't able to fight back. But Robin, clearly not flashed at all. He gets those 2 kills. Unfortunately, he falls, but 3v2, he's done a bit more damage to Hector's as well. And look where Thomas is. He's cleared that B tunnels. He's just on a run.
Yeah,
right now.
He's just a lone wolf, isn't he, Thomas? He doesn't like to muck about. He wants to get stuck in, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He's getting a bit bored. He's noticed most of the action's happening in A, and he's like, you know what, I want a piece of that. I want to get in on the action. But the main thing is, if Thomas gets through that long A doors quick and catch him off guard, this could be a perfect moment. But you can see Frighten Hector's was actually a little bit worried about that and didn't actually realise one came from short. But managed to get the trade anyway, but he's the last man standing. But even if he does eventually get this bomb down, he's only on 17 HP and it's going to be very difficult. But saying that, managed to take down Pulse, managed to take down Thomas as well. So that was a fantastic way to end things. We really thought that was going to be a 14th round for Endpoint, but Fry on that 17 HP managed to close things out. So well played for them, and you never know, could be a sign of things to come. Yeah,
I mean, I was praising Endpoint's 2vx situations in the first map, and you know, that's an example of one where it wasn't played exactly fantastic. Like, I think it was it Max, I think, jumping on the box, and then Thomas is kind of stuck in a horrible situation where he's just throwing a molly. Fry knows exactly where he is. And even though the health difference was there's not much you can do. But Thomas playing so close all game in tunnels. And he finally gets a chance to actually use that position and mows them all down. Resix and Link 2v5. Yeah, it's such a horrible situation when a B rush goes wrong, and you're kind of stuck there thinking, what do we actually do? And Thomas is just going to go straight through.
It's cool. Thomas is there, and so far he's got a 4K. He's looking for that ace, and managed to get the ace to the board. So fantastic play by Thomas with that first 3K through tunnels, and managed to get 2 more of his own. Nice little, could potentially be a nice little way to end things in this match.
Yeah, he's been doing this every round at B. He would throw that molly, run in, turn complete. So if flashes are coming in, he won't be blind. And he'll then just instantly fight whoever's there, no matter what. And yeah, he's just absolutely destroyed them there. And that round that they lost, the 2v1, it doesn't really matter now, does it? You know, the money on Winner Rain is horrendous.
Yeah, it's not looking too good, of course. Fry, we know what Fry's like. He's one of those players that's very calm and collective, no matter what kind of situation it is, 1v5, 1v3, no matter what kind of scenario he is in. But that was a great job. But Thomas with an ace to kind of apply to that last round. It's just adding more salt to the wound, you could say.
Yeah, it kind of just throws a bit of a slap in their face, really, isn't it? It's just
pretty
like,
much. I don't like it.
You've just won that fantastic 1v3, but this round's over in 10 seconds. So
yeah, that's looking that way, and it's close to being all said and done. Link's trying to do whatever he can with that Deke, but he does, mind you, does get the scout off, but Max, yeah, he's going to end that. He ain't going to muck around. He wants to get the job done quick, safe at Smo, but looking at the stats, you can see still very similar. Max 15 and 9, Robin 18 and 13. The IGL, the team, is actually the one almost top fragging, you could say, and Lazar 17 11. To be fair, they're all playing consistently well. There's not really, I wouldn't say weak links, anything like that, but they're all playing how it should be. Ooh, that was a nice cheeky little scout mode by Resix. A nice way to, nice little send-off, you could say, to that extent, but you never know, never know.
Yeah, it's not often we see those door bangs anymore, just because the door is, ooh, that was nearly multi as well. He did hit Link. And Lazar, he thrives for these sorts of moments. He likes the AWP battle, and there it is. 3 kills, easy as anything. And Resix, I mean, he's still in spawn.
Just chilling on spawn, you know. He's got a minute 25 on the clock. He's got plenty of time to relax and wait for Lazar to go for another one. But Lazar does have 3 kills on the board. He couldn't get a 4K, maybe even ace to follow suit Thomas. He's obviously seen Thomas do it and thought, you know what, I want a piece of that. But yeah, Thomas is like, no, you ain't having an ace. It's only going to be me. And of course, Thomas, Robin managed to clean things up. And again, another comfortable map in favour of Endpoint. So yeah, pretty good job, pretty comfortable. They seem to be quite well going into this.
Yeah, I think one of the big things, as we get Jack to join us again, how you doing?
Oh, mate.
Hello.
Right.
You right?
I'm not. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good, guys.
Any comments on the game, Mr.
Yeah,
Host?
it was pretty good, actually. I mean, Lazar has been popping off quite well. It's been good to see, actually, Joe still continuously being able to perform to a high level. So what you kind of need coming through as well, confidence seemed to be there throughout the entire squad, and there was some huge moments across the board, Ben. I think that was just the fact. I mean, going into this, Endpoint seemed like they took it as best of ones both times, and they were completely reset. They were always mentally fresh. Wind and Rain, they looked pretty defeated before things even got going.
Yeah, I think it was just the fact that, you know, they ecoed them and everything, but then things suddenly hit just a wall again. Like, they relied on that double AWP a lot. Yeah. And it wasn't the same effect as like on Mirage. You could see that double AWP in effect, but on Dust 2 it just didn't seem to have that same, you know, impact, I guess. Yeah,
Endpoint, we always question about their CT side on some of the maps, but it was actually really good, especially on that force buy on that second round. We managed to take things back, and this is one moment with Fry where we always say he's quite a calm and collected player. It doesn't matter exactly what kind of situation he's in. He always chills in those kind of moments, but managed to get that nice 1v3, and then to reply to that, Thomas gets an ace. So it's kind of their way of saying, well, you know what, you get a nice little 1v3, then that's all right, I'll just get an ace on the board and a nice normal buy round. And like you mentioned before, Thomas, you know, does the same thing every single time, not every time, but most times with his utility on that B site. And then just got away with it anyway that second time round, and Lazar with a nice 3K to finish the job, ending Wind and Rain's dreams. Yeah,
that was pretty crisp. Good stuff, obviously, from Joe. That's what we needed to see stepping up. And Endpoint just absolutely prevailed. They've dominated, really cut their way through the competition and have really come in all guns blazing. And this is exactly how they needed to do it. They got to this position again. They knew it's really make or break at this point. Obviously, failed to get it last time around. And this time, they're back in that final spot. They're now really just one best of 5 away from potentially getting themselves another victory under their belt, walking away with another trophy. It would be huge. Obviously, the Endpoint trophy house only has the 1 trophy. There is a room for more trophies. Yeah, you might as well. You might as well have 2. You can put them both up.
Yeah, why not? You know, a bit greedy, in my opinion, but I guess you're right. Yeah, they could have 2 on the board. And the way they've been playing at the moment, they're one of the most structured teams on the circuit in this Prem so far. And you know, to treat Wind and Rain like that, I don't think it's their 2 lineup changes which made kind of an impact on how bad Wind and Rain have become. I think it's just how strong Endpoint have been. They've obviously practiced really hard for this, and being in a LAN environment where we're all next to each other, linking each other's screens to see exactly what's going on 100% rather than just like 50-50 in terms of looking at the radar and obviously looking at their own screen. You know, it just shows how much difference it makes.
Yeah, definitely gave them a little bit of an edge there. Let's have a look at the bracket one final time as well, so we can see now finally where everyone is going to be positioned. So Fish123 started off the day. They won in a 2-1 fashion and moved on to the grand final. Wind and Rain have just fallen in an 0-2 fashion, completely blown out of the water there by Endpoint, meaning it is going to be Fish123 versus Endpoint in a best of 5 tomorrow from 2 PM. It should be a very, very explosive affair. I think this is probably the grand final we expected to see, guys.
I'd say so, yeah, especially with what was coming up in the last few days, like with Wind and Rain's roster essentially, I wouldn't say collapsed, but that is essentially what happened, wasn't it? They just destroyed themselves, really. And then we didn't anticipate them being that close with Fish123, and I mean, that third map, 16-0 has happened quite rarely, and it's quite unfortunate to have that happen in a best of 3 of all places as well.
And I could say stuff like, you know, Wind and Rain, this is the first maps they lost in the whole Prem this season. Sadly, it had to be going into the top 4 for the semis, but it's not the same lineup. So of course, you're missing Hemzik and players like that. The one who 40 bombs and overpass and this kind of stuff. I'm not really too surprised, but you know, you've got 2 storylines now. You obviously got Fish, you know, want to try and the reigning champions, want to try and defend it, and you've got Endpoint, who didn't even make playoffs last season, could actually win the whole thing. So you never know what could happen tomorrow.
Yeah, it's very true. Maybe things can change up a little bit. Obviously, they've left Wind and Rain, but if they would have grabbed themselves some AOC monitors, maybe they could start getting back in the server and doing some fragging and unleash that true Genko power. And you too can grab yourself an AOC monitor. Head it over to the link down below. Get involved, obviously. You swear by them, didn't you?
Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
Stayed on script. Ben?
Yes.
Good. Everyone knows what to say. Get yourself in with a chance to win it. You might as well. It's completely free to enter, and you'll be rewarded with a beautiful, beautiful monitor. But that does mean, obviously, on the back of that one, I feel like we have something quite spicy coming up that should be very interesting. Obviously, with the Endpoint players, we're going to try and see if we can get an interview going on with them and actually work out who exactly we're going to be talking to. I think it might be the mighty Max himself. Obviously, if you boys have some interesting questions to ask him, the main man, the holder of Max angles, the thrower of grenades. He's basically the rock equivalent of UK Counter-Strike. Yeah,
that's like JCam.
Yeah, that is
to be
fair.
Yeah.
Just walks in with the intro music, dropping nades behind him.
I suppose we'll find out in a second, won't we?
Hopefully so.
Hopefully he has grenade props.
Yeah, that would be good. To be fair, they do have the Endpoint green screen. Do you remember the videos?
Yeah, they do actually.
They did some quality little Twitter videos where there was like the one with the boost. It was Max on Luz's shoulders and they were lifting him up. There was some pretty good stuff.
I'm not surprised in all fairness.
It is just what that team needs. But whilst we have that to get sorted out and underway, I think we've got through all the antigrams. We do have one to go, which was silent. Listen.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, but that one threw me because listening, you're still normally quite quiet. Is it really an antigram? Is it a true antigram?
I don't know, in all fairness. You kind of threw me off the guard a little bit.
Caught you off guard on that one?
Threw me off like completely. Like.
Yeah, you weren't prepared for that?
Nah, mate, I was completely unprepared for that, to be fair.
Should we ask Snods what he thinks?
Yeah, we could do. Oh, he said he's also off guard as well.
I heard it.
Well, we can ask Max in a minute, I suppose.
Hopefully.
Actually, yeah, you should probably
get
his opinion on those, I think.
Hey, Max. Got some interesting facts here for you.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah. What do you think about antigrams? I don't know.
I thought you were going to ask about the game. No.
We know what happened. We saw what happened just now.
So what do you think about these fish facts?
What are your thoughts? Are you going to derail them, get them out of the pond, or what?
Yeah, come on, Max.
Sort of we can see if he outpunts you.
Maybe. Well, he is the GIF king.
He is the
hashtag pun king.
Yeah.
He likes to self-title him as such. Imagine if it's just not Max.
Oh, that would be
terrible. Yeah, we've been talking about it the entire time, and maybe just find out some other king.
Yeah. Yeah.
The coach or something.
He's hardly in camera shot. It's just his neck because he's so tall. I mean, you can't get King Kong on video. It just doesn't work.
Not on video anymore.
I suppose you guys know what VCRs are, right?
Betamax.
Oh, you know what Betamax is?
We're getting old school.
Oh, okay.
I'm actually a vampire.
Laserdisc?
I've been alive for many years. I just put on this facade that I'm 21.
But you look like you're not 31.
Yeah.
It's beard and stuff, isn't it?
Of course.
Yeah. So I need to grow one, but I'm 40.
Do you know in Kill Bill, you know the guy, it's not Hattori Hanzo, but the guy that trains in like Kill Bill 2, and he has the little white beard that he flips.
Oh, he just goes shh like that.
Yeah. That would be me.
Yeah.
That's the vibe that I'm going to go for. Just walk into the studio.
I like him. He's a legend. I think he's alright. You know, I could imagine you being him, like being on the top, like waiting for some other player to come up and like train him and teach him the awful
Max
ways.
comes up to me,
Yeah.
take him under my wing, show you the ways of the nades.
And afterwards,
It's all about the forearm left.
And the AOC monitor, obviously.
AFC monitor, the Intel i7.
The Intel i7. You need all of it.
Yeah.
What kind of map would you picture that on? Probably like Aztec or something?
Yeah, that
kind
looks
of
like
like
a good
Aztec.
training ground, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Meet me on Aztec, kid.
Yeah. Well, you know, Militia's one of my best maps. So.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, Militia King here, just to let you know. I ain't got my badge with me, but
No.
Where's
I'll get
the
it for
badge?
next time.
You
Well, I ain't
should-
got it with me, but I'll get a Militia pin next time just to show everyone how it's done and all that, you know.
All right. Maybe we can do another little giveaway. Harry will give away his whole shirt with the militia pin. You can win the shirt.
You don't know how sacred that Militia pin is?
Outrageous.
It is,
Letting us
I
down.
know.
Well, luckily we do have a backup giveaway, of course.
Oh, that's all right.
The Intel giveaway to get yourself an 8th gen i7 8700K. It's a lot shinier and probably more useful than his shirt and militia pins. You might as well get involved with that one. Try and secure it. I feel like we should give away the snods at some point. It's like a relic of UK
It
history.
depends if they want this one or the cardboard.
The cardboard
Yeah.
one that we had was
Yeah.
incredible.
That's
Yeah.
vintage now,
That
isn't
is-
it? Like,
Yeah.
it's becoming priceless.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. That used to sit on your wardrobe above your bed and watch you sleep, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. It did.
Yeah. Sophie
And
said she made you throw it away. I was quite worried.
it's in the wardrobe.
Can I
You've
take
just
this home
hidden it.
and put it on my bedside cabinet, maybe?
Maybe.
Yeah,
Let's have a
I've
look.
moved my picture of me and my missus and just put like,
She walks in.
yeah.
What's going on,
Yeah.
Harry? You just start doing Snods' voice. You go, nothing.
Yeah, just let you know I'm leaving.
Yeah. I've met someone.
Yeah.
You're just there holding the picture,
It's
holding
sadly
the
for you,
bag.
it's him.
Yeah. What? What's going I thought we just got married. Nah.
Nah, it's
leaving.
not happening. That was just a bit of a joke, you know?
He loves. Yeah, I just thought it was a meme. I didn't think you'd actually marry me.
Yeah, I know. Like, I didn't expect it. I was just, well, again, thrown off guard. You know what I mean?
Just throwing a spanner in the works. So we are still waiting for the Mighty Max Heath of Heathness.
Yeah, it's getting prepared. isn't it?
Obviously, the thing is, all of them being in that gaming house, you know,
It's getting rowdy.
yeah, it's probably quite heated. They're all belly bouncing off each other.
Doing the worm,
yeah,
having champagne.
Sheiky's just holding 2 people at once in the air.
Yeah.
It's like that.
That'll be
Max is
Pulse
probably.
and Laser.
Do you know what? Max is probably doing the worm as we speak. That's probably why it takes
Just
so long to
trying to worm his way over to the
to the interview
yeah.
section.
I'd like that though. If they've got a little webcam set up with just a with
Get
a
his
headset.
Titantron on as well.
Yeah,
There we go. His
comes over.
actual entrance is in.
Yeah, the music in the background, the smoke comes out. Just, I came to play. Oh, he's ready. Let's get into it. We do have the interview. Oh, here he is, Max himself, the legend. How you feeling, Max?
I'm good. How are you?
Pretty good. Everyone here is obviously very excited. Big win for Endpoint. You've made it back to the finals finally. What do you reckon's going to go down from here? Are you pumped?
I'm pumped for this game. It's going to be a best of 5 tomorrow, so it should be good for us. We have a decent map for us. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, we was expecting to do the worm and some kind of celebration, but we're quite sad now we didn't see that in the background, which is kind of fair enough. You know, it's probably expecting a bit too much, but it happens. But one thing I was going to point out is that right now, between all 4 of those teams, you're probably the most structured team going into the final, of course, going against Fish. Do you feel a lot more confident going into that now?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, even the regular season, we went 1-1 against them, so I think tomorrow we expect a good win, maybe 3-0.
3-0.
Well, he's confident.
Okay, that's not bad. It's going to be a short day and I can have dinner earlier.
Straight to bed. A
Yeah.
good time was had by all. It'll be fantastic.
Yes, you got to remember I'm quite old now, so it's like 6 p.m. is like past my bedtime. So if you get done by then and 3-0, then I should be alright by then.
Should we need a quick win from Endpoint there, Max? Has there been any celebrations? Has Sheiky picked anyone up with his raw strength?
No, I think everyone's happy. In the background. We're just chilling right now.
They're all still quite chilling, aren't they, pretty much?
Everyone looks very somber. It's a
Yeah.
it's a good vibe. Oh, there's Thomas
There's
himself.
Thomas.
The ginger giant has featured. I thought he was getting involved.
I thought he was
know.
getting
Just going
involved.
to tackle Max out of the way.
Well, they call him Thomas the Tank Engine, isn't it?
Yeah,
I suppose?
well, he is on a. He does go off the rails.
We-
So, any final thoughts for Max before we let him get back to his absolute Pepsi grind?
Well, that Pepsi grind, I was thinking of a question just then, but that literally just completely threw me off. But that Pepsi grind, I was trying to see if there's one literally on his table somewhere, but he's probably hiding it just due to
Off
the fact
screen.
that it's a
Yeah,
team.
it is.
Yeah.
It's Max. Oh, hang on.
Here we go.
Is he going to feature it?
No, he's falling asleep.
It's against the Brandon.
I can understand making you fall asleep. It's all right, mate. Don't worry about it.
I think that's everything.
Yeah.
I think it is, yeah.
Well, thanks, Max. It's been lovely to speak to you again. We'll see you in the house very soon.
We'll see you later.
See you later.